Enjoy that mini version, that mini movie? Okay, I want your snacks to be put to the side now so that you can be a good listener about the Venn diagram. Okay, boys and girls, now that you have read a short story version of Jack and the Beanstalk and you got to watch a mini movie version of Jack and the Beanstalk, we are going to compare and contrast the two. Okay, remember one more time. Compare what's the same, contrast what's different. Okay, this is where I'm going to teach you how to bounce when you do a Venn diagram. It's real easy, you just bounce. Everybody bounce with me. I'm going to show you a real easy way to bounce. The bouncing is when you are contrasting. Okay? I'm going to give you an example, and I bet you can come up with a really good bounce for me. In the short story, how many beans was Jack given? And can you also give me story support to back it up from the short story? From the short story? Yeah, can you back it up? How many beans was Jack given? Tell me your answer first.
In the story.
In the short story, how many beans was Jack given? I'll come back to you. Sierra. 5 magic beans. Who can read to me the story support to prove that? Benjamin, loud and proud.
I will give you 5 magic beans.
Very good. Very good. So there is my first thing. So in the short story, Jack was given 5 magic beans. Now, I told you we were going to bounce. Okay? So bounce with me. If I'm going to bounce over, everybody pay attention please. I didn't ask you to write down anything yet. Isaac here. We're going to bounce. We're going to bounce over to the mini movie. What would be a good bounce to go with this? What I mean is, I don't want to say Jack got 5 magic beans in the short story, and in the mini movie, there was 1 cow. That's not a good bounce. That's not a good bounce. It's not going to go together. Okay, what would go with this 5 magic beans? What would be a good bounce for that? Carson.
Jack got 1 magic bean.
Jack only got 1 magic bean in the mini movie. That is a good bounce. Do you see how those go together? Okay, that's what I mean by bounce. In the mini movie, Jack only got 1 magic bean. Was the same between the mini movie and the short story version. Aiden.
They both have Jack in them.
Okay, the character, Jack, what were the other characters that were the same?
The mom and the giant.
Okay, in both versions, there is a mom, Jack, and giant. Okay, that would be a good same. Compare what's the same, contrast what's different. You are now going to go back with your group, and you are going to complete this by thinking of other comparisons that are the same and other contrasts what are different. Okay? Some of you took notes during that mini movie. You have the short story version in front of you. So you can use that and your notes to help your group come up with the rest. Yes, Aaron, I did this. Now you're going to go back to your original groups. Remember where I put you, okay? And remember how well you worked at the beginning. So do it again. You and your group, hold on. You and your group are going to come up with 3 more comparisons and 3 more contrasts. Okay? Do that with me. Let's do compare and contrast one more time. Compare what's the same, contrast what's different. A lot of you took notes on the mini video, so make sure you share those notes with your group and make sure you listen to each other. That's part of our literacy circle, is to practice our listening skills, okay? We listen to each other and then we can add to what somebody else says and then change it up and share the information that you all have. Okay, your Venn diagrams do not all have to look the same. They do not. I know Aaron wasn't here for the video, but let's say Haley has a great idea that Sierra has a totally different one that she wants to put down. If it's discussed, that is fine. You're going to all turn them in. They do not have to be the same as your whole groups, but I'd like everyone to have a chance to share a comparison and a contrast, okay? Does everybody understand what you're going to do? So you have to bring your pencil to your group, and you need to discuss. We want to hear you discussing some of the things that were the same and some of the things that were different from the short story and video. Get it?
Got it.
Good. Let's see which group can work with that.
Short story.
Okay.
Which one do you want to do? We're going to start on the short story. What's his first idea?
Jack got 5 magic beans in the short story.
Yeah, but what's the balance?
Jack got 1 magic bean in the mini movie.
Now what's the story support for it?
It says that I will give you 5 magic beans.
And then the video says that I'll give you 1 magic bean. So we have that. So it's saying my second idea is the wife in the kitchen, the giants. And this, it says there lived a giant and his wife. Jack went inside the house and found the giant's wife in the kitchen. So in the short story, there was a wife and a giant, but in the mini movie, there's just the giant. So in the short story,
Anything that we could write down in. She tells him it's wrong when she steals and when he steals in the mini movie, but she doesn't do it in his mom.
Okay, what would be a good bounce though? What did she say in the other one? Instead of saying, Mom said this and did not say this, that's not really a good bounce. So if you said he was greedy in one, think of what Mom did in the other version. That would be a good bounce. That would go together.
Happy in the other version and mad.
Okay, that's a better bounce. Instead of saying mad, not mad, happy, not happy, that's not a good bounce because we just throw in the word not. And we could do that with almost anything, right? So make sure you have a bounce that would go with it.
Song Cow to a Monk. I remember him carrying one bag.
oh yeah.
Because after he did that, the next day he brought it back. Instead of, in the mini movie, he got a hen instead of a bag.
Why don't we just write that?
Actually, both got a hen.
Yeah, both got a hen.
Got.
All right, boys and girls. Hopefully you had a chance to discuss in your group some compare and contrast of the short story and the mini video. Who has a good comparison? Show me comparison. Compare what's the same. Who has a good comparison that they discussed with their group that they like to share? Who have I not followed? Cooper.
The giant died in both stories.
Yes, the giant died in both versions. Very good comparison. Leanna, do you have another comparison?
They both cut down the stalk.
Okay, Jack cut down the stalk in both versions. Good. Now let's share a couple contrasts. Things that are different from the short story to the mini movie. What was different? And do you have a good bounce? Do you have Emma? Do you have a good bounce for us? What is it?
In the short story, Jack asked for bread and milk, and in the mini movie, he found bread and milk.
Good bounce. Okay, so in the short story, he asked for it. What would go with that? In the mini movie, he just found it. That's a good bounce. Good bounce. Emily, do you have another good bounce?
In the short story, there was a wife, and in the mini movie, there was no wife.
Okay, you have a very good point, but I'm going to tweak yours just a little bit. Is it okay if I use you as an example? Okay, Morgan and I discussed this too. There are so many things that you can say in one version and then just stick in the word no on the other side That's not considered a good bounce. Okay, wife, no wife.